joining us. Come on in, grab a seat. Make sure you scan my QR code. As I've been saying, I'm giving a $250 value away where I sit with you, one lucky participant. I'm going to work with you on your brand. I'm going to help analyze it. I'm going to do some content creation for you and help you identify maybe where the holes are in your marketing approach. So you want to scan this QR code, make sure to fill it out. And we're ready to go. Awesome. So we are ready to start. So welcome. My name is Dr. Liz again. I'm the CEO and president of Bayer Enterprises. And today we're talking about the power of words in marketing. Why choose me? Because it's nice to know that a client chooses you, and it's even better when they choose you over and over again. So let's talk really quickly. I like to introduce who I am. So, of course, I am Dr. Bayer. I'm also known as Dr. Bling. Some of you might know me, and that has to do with my second business. I have 20 years experience in marketing and business. I've actually run multiple businesses. I'm a single mama and a caregiver, and I am the CEO and president of Bayer Enterprises, which does copyright and marketing strategies. This is huge because I know most of you have learned about AI or you know about AI. All of my content creation and editing is 100% original, no AI. But we're going to talk about the power of AI because it does have a place in this world. There are four main areas I work in: copyright, editing, creative writing, and marketing strategies. By the way, for those of you who are team members, I am the writer of both sets of emails that you have been receiving since April 1st. For those of you not getting two sets, that's okay. That's because leadership is getting a separate email from the organization. Some of the services I do websites, blogs, email blasts, newsletters, social media, PowerPoint presentations, speeches, ghostwriting, 1-minute commercials, marketing strategy, brand identification, anything revolving around marketing and business development. That is my world. That is where you'll find me. And of course, you heard my quote that life is short, make memories where you can, and communicate clearly because your words are precious. Don't just live, be alive. And I wanted to show really quickly because pictures have a place and pictures are powerful. We're going to talk about that as we do visuals. But this is my why. I mentioned I'm a caregiver. I actually care for 3 full-grown adults: my mama, who's battling stage 4 cancer, my dad, who is going downhill due to type 2 diabetes, and my developmentally disabled brother. I'm also a single mama and I run 2 businesses full time. In case you can't tell, right? I am a busy woman. But from all of this, I have learned the power of connection and the art of connecting with people and how those connections develop into relationships that actually augment your business. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And of course, I've got a couple of lovely fur babies as well because my life isn't complicated enough. So what are we going to talk about today? So words are powerful. Let me talk about first that marketing is one of the toughest positions to fill. If you are not doing your own marketing and you're looking to hire somebody, it's very tough. Why? Because you need to hire somebody whose passion matches yours, and more importantly, whose vision is aligned with yours. And then they need to be an effective communicator. They need to be able to share it with others. They need to be able to develop an emotional connection. Boy, these are tough, right? That's tough for us to do. And we're the ones that generated our brand, that generated our business. People do business with people they like and trust. And we're going to come back to this concept. But when you are beginning your marketing journey and you're really looking at brand development, you need clarity in your brand, your vision, your mission, your business, your message, and your reputation. Why? Because when you have clarity in these, you're going to actually generate more leads, which are going to turn into more clients, which equal bigger profits. And that's why we're here. We're here to make money in our business and to love what we're doing. I always like to say words are powerful and yours deserve to be remembered. And I always say choose your words wisely because they are going to allow a client to want to choose you. And so we're going to talk about that here. In this workshop, just to break it down, I'm going to teach you how to explore your unique talents and express them with words that build trust in relationships. Whether you struggle with writing, you're a great writer, or you're not really sure where the heck you fall in, you're just kind of lost right now, the words really matter and they can build the bridge to more clients, strong referrals, and ultimately bigger profits. We're going to cover the top 10 tips to using your words wisely, and we're going to learn how those words build emotional connections so that potential customers and clients know exactly why they should choose you over and over again. And so before we jump into that, I wanted to say words are powerful, and this is huge. There's a psychology to marketing. And those of you who have worked with me, you've known that I've begun to pick you apart and figure you out. And that's because it's all about the emotional connections. And those who I have worked with come back to me and say, I just love you, Liz. I just want to be around you. And that's because we've developed this very strong, and I continue to develop it. And because of that, I'm sending referrals your way, and you're sending referrals mine, and thus the circuit continues. So let's explore our top 10 tips and how we can do this in our everyday business. All right, here we go. Tip number 1. What is your why? Understanding your why. So this is huge. It is the foundation of your business and your vision. It is the driving force behind all that you do. It also connects you with your clients, and it keeps you going through every part of being an entrepreneur. Because let's be honest, it's not all highs, right? There's a lot of lows that we have to go through. And your why is what keeps you on the track. It aligns your actions with your purpose. Here's the kicker now, and this is a big one. Most of us, we're business professionals or owners. We have a why. But when was the last time you revisited or revised it? Because your why changes as your life changes and you go through cycles. And there is nothing more energy draining than a why that has lost its passion. And that is very obvious to a client or a customer if you don't recognize that your reason for why you're doing what you're doing changed and you haven't changed the words that go with it. Your why keeps you motivated and focused. And here's something I say, post it around where you work. Create a beautiful little collage. Maybe have one of these beautiful little artworks that's in your office that has a line from your why, because that's a reminder to you. And it's also a visual reminder to your clients. It can be abstract, but here's the thing with why it really should be specific. Specificity is key. And so this is the difference between saying I want to make money and I want to make $10,000 this month so that I can cover my mortgage, I can pay my car payment, I can pay off my credit cards and put $500 into my IRA. It's a huge difference. The brain loves specificity, right? There, and so your why is your power. And I also put up here some examples of where you will see what the tips I'm talking about in traditional marketing writing. So here I put your bio page, blogs, your about page. This is the more personal writing. These should be written in first person. They should be an I concept, because this is where people are getting to know you and they're getting to recognize who you are and what you're all about. So tip number 10, understand your why. Tip number 9, know what you do. Here's the kicker. We all know what we do. We know why we're in business, but could you explain it in 3 sentences so that a 3-year-old would understand? And if you can't say yes to that, do you truly understand what you do at a level that your clients will understand it? Now, I'm not saying your clients are 3-year-olds, but the point being, we know our business up here because we're immersed in it. Our clients don't, right? So you need to know what you do and be able to say it succinctly. I got asked in the last one, so I'll practice this and show you. They said, could I do it for mine? Yes. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Bayer with Bayer Enterprises. I'm a professional copyright and marketer, meaning what I do is put words to your brand, help you clarify those words to generate more leads, which equal clients, and more money. I ended with money because that's something people remember. Because also, when you're creating your know what you do, your 3 sentences end with the powerful point of what you're offering your clients. That leads to a point. Do you focus on solutions and the problems you solve, or are you only talking about yourself in your know what you do? It shouldn't sound like what you think your profession should sound like. It should be a reflection of what sets you apart, flaws and all. We're going to talk here in a few minutes about AI. AI has a place, but the thing with AI is perfect, and we are not perfect beings, and we are emotional creatures. Be you in all your flawed glory, because in that is the connection. Do you know your customers and what they need? Here's another one. What's an ideal referral to you? Who are your competitors? What's your mission? What's your vision for your business? These are all powerful concepts that you need to master to truly start the connection with a potential client or a lead. And you got to be able to explain it quickly and efficiently, or you're going to lose them. You're going to get those deer in the headlight look and they're out. I like to say write it down initially. Read it over and over, shorten it, revise it, right? Because what happens is you start to learn it intuitively. It flows naturally, makes sense, and you're going to notice that your clients are understanding it. Some examples of this writing where you'll find this is newsletters, emails. These are solution-based writing. This is where you're offering them, this is what I can do for you. This is how I'm going to save you from whatever you're struggling with. All right, tip number 8, simplicity is an art form. So this is huge. We are complex beings, and we are taught that the more complex the situation, the smarter I must be, right? And so what ends up happening is that simple is actually harder than complex. We've been conditioned to think that the more complex we present, the more somebody's going to identify us, when it's quite the opposite. How many times you met with somebody and they start talking about what they do and they lose you in like sentence number 2 and they're still going on and you're thinking, wait, what the heck does that mean? What do they do? Oftentimes we have such a passion for our business and for our industry. We know it. We know it better than anyone intuitively because we're living it day in and day out. And so we speak to others as if they should know it on our level. And when they don't, and we write that way too, and when they don't get it, we're like, I need to explain it further. I need to talk more. And that deer in the headlight look comes again because you've just lost them. What you really have to do is pull back and you have to simplify it and you have to bring it down to that level. Again, this is tying in with that level of a 3-year-old. Can you explain your business in simple terms with short sentences, not run ons? There should be commas, there should be punctuation. Take a breath. Right. This coming from the woman that's trying to keep within my time. So that it can be easily understood. The idea is be simple and specific because the brain recognizes specificity and it can understand it. Some examples where I say this is powerful in writing. If you produce manuals, if you have portfolios that you give to clients, if you have marketing brochures and flyers, keep them simple. Nobody's going to buy an ice cream if you're giving them the entire ice cream truck for free, right? So you don't have to pour everything out on them. This is where you need to pull back a bit, keep it simple, and again, always tying in the fact that you are solving a problem for them. So that leads to tip number 7. What do they need? So, do you know what your clients need? Do you offer the solutions to what they need, or do you only talk about why you're the best and all the expertise and what you've done? This is an absolutely vital point for success in marketing, and it's one that's missed by business professionals because we get excited about what we do. See, when you understand what a client needs, you're able to build trust. You're able to create better products and services because guess what? Maybe what you're doing is not exactly what your clients need. So you can go in and you can tweak it, right? You can adjust it to what they need. This increases customer satisfaction and retention, which therefore increases revenue. And who doesn't want more revenue in their business? It's one thing to offer your clients what you think they want. It's quite another to understand their actual needs and to then fulfill it. Clients, now this is great. You're going to hear me say this a bunch of times, and the last group love this. Clients care about themselves. They don't care about you. They really don't. They come to you because they need a problem, they need something, and they want to know that you're going to be able to do it. They want yes people that are going to say, yes, I got you, I'll take care of it. They're looking for you to provide answers. And the best analogy I can put is you're their warm, fuzzy blanket on a very cold winter night. That's what they want. And so, in that, you have to understand what they need. And we're going to talk about this because an easy way to understand what your clients need is to simply make a list of questions that you can ask them in your first initial meetings. And then you're going to listen. And we're going to come back to that concept in a minute. But examples of where you'll see this in writing: PowerPoint presentations, free consultation packets, so your services page on your website. This is where you're sharing what you offer and you're basing that share on what you've learned when you've met with your clients. Okay, tip number 6. This is an important one. How many of you work in an industry where there are a lot of other people that do what you do, right? And you're thinking to myself, okay, how do I stand out? There are 25 million people in Southern California. How do I get them to notice me? This is it right here. What's your niche? This is where you understand what sets you apart as a business and an individual. And guess what? That's going to create a loyal customer base because it's going to create a powerful connection. Another show of hands. How many of you actually scope out your competition? You go online, you check their website, you're like stalking them on Facebook and Instagram. You're seeing what they're doing because you want to know that you do it better. But when you're doing these scouting missions, what I recommend is determine what you do that they're not doing. Look at what is different. That's your niche. And now you need to shine a light on it, right? You might do all these other things that they do, but what is the 1 or 2 or 3 things that you're doing that they're not? The idea on this is it creates a uniqueness in your brand message, and the services, it ends up becoming something that customers remember because it's a difference. So if you're unsure of what your niche is, guess what? Often your niche is tied to your why. So if you can't figure out what your niche is, go back and revisit your why, number one, because your why might be out of whack. It might not be in aligned with where you are in this moment, which is why you're feeling lost. The other thing is that business owners often determine their niche by assessing their own strengths and passion. Thank you. Why they do what they're doing. Of course, you can always hire a marketing strategist. This is what we love to do, is tear you apart to build you back up. No, what I do is get in there and really get to the heart of why you're doing what you're doing and what makes you different than the competition that's out there. Some examples of where you will see this: blogs, newsletters, emails, taglines. Taglines are one I like to talk about because a lot of people use AI for taglines, and we're going to come to AI in a minute. But here's the thing: taglines are important because people remember them. They're short, they're sweet, they're one sentence, and people will remember. It's the identification. So it's really where you have to hone in. Taglines should include your niche. They should include what makes you unique. Social media is another one. All right, so my favorite. Oh no, we haven't gotten that. It's right after this one. What is my narrative? Tip number 5. Okay, what story do you tell yourself? You've heard many times, we become what we believe. The story you tell yourself is what you subconsciously believe. And guess what? You project it out, whether you know it or not. The story you're telling yourself is actually being read by your referral partners, by your potential clients, by your existing clients. Stop unconsciously playing out the script you've been given. If you're not happy where your business is today, if it's not generating what you wanted it to be, then obviously this story, your narrative, needs to change. You need to rise up and you need to create a new story, because what you tell yourself really does matter. You need to become the author of the very success you deserve. And it does start in here, and it does start in here. Now, for those of you who are in team, you probably recognize this concept because I wrote about it in last week's email. And I mentioned that Tony Robbins said the only thing that is keeping you from getting what you want is the story you're telling yourself. And he went on to go in that study that I was reading. He talked further about what we don't realize is that we might think, well, I don't tell that to clients, but we're projecting it out there. They're reading it. They're very intelligent. They're intuitively understanding, and they're thinking, well, if you don't know what you're doing, why am I going to hire you? Why should I bring you into my world? Because I'm looking for somebody who knows what they're doing. This also transcends to your brand, because the brand is built around the images and the narrative that we create. Here's a great way to identify if your narrative is strong or not. Ask your client or customer that when they see your brand, what are the 3 words they think of? So, what are the first 3 words that come to mind? That's going to give you an idea of the narrative you're projecting out there, number one. But number two, if those 3 words they give you are exactly where you want to be, that's your brand's image. And the narrative and the story you are giving needs to be built around those 3 words. It needs to be built around that image. Story, images, they all go hand in hand. So this is what's your story. And examples of where we tend to see this is career narratives, vision statements, goals. Again, this is where you are projecting out who you are and why you do what you do and why they should work with you. Now we get to my favorite one. I love this. I wish Cooper was in here. So this is AI has its place. Do you know yours? This is tip number 4. All right. AI is out there. We cannot ignore it. But here's the thing with AI: it writes in perfection, and we need to be authentically us. You need to be flawed. You need to be who you are, because guess what? No one wants perfection. Because when you see something that is perfect, you think, I could never be like that. And suddenly a wall goes up and there's no emotional connection being formed, right? AI has its place. Don't get me wrong. We can't run from it, but I like to call it the starting point versus the ending point. AI is kind of like stock photos. So when I talk about ChatGPT and things like that, and to me, it's like nails on a chalkboard. Why? Because it's sterile and it's void of emotion. It does not sound like you at all. It may say perfectly what you do, but it doesn't set you apart from your competitors, because it also says perfectly what they do as well. What sets you apart is the fact that you have emotions. It's the fact that you are who you are in your brand. So I like to say you can use AI as a starting point, but then adjust the content and your words so that it sounds like you, it flows like you. Because I'm going to tell you something. I have clients that come in to see me who use AI on a regular basis, and they tell me, I don't get it. I get lots of leads, and then I can't close the deal. You can't close the deal because the leads you are getting are being generated from what they think you are, And then they meet you and you are nothing like what that content is or what you're putting out there. And they are confused and they put a wall up. I don't understand what's going on here. People do business with people they like, and they like you when they know you and they can understand and relate to you. People buy people. This is a huge part. You're not selling your product or service, you're selling yourself. And so you need to make sure it's represented in what you're presenting. Otherwise, there's no difference between you and your competition. There's no emotional connection, no bond is formed, and that lead moves on to the next. They forget all about you. We're almost done and we're at the very end here. Tip number 3, are you a storyteller? Look, stories are very powerful. They're a way to capture a client's attention because they're emotional, they're memorable, and they make you relatable. There's a variety of stories in business and branding, and I'm going to focus on a couple of them. The first one is the founder's story. This is how your business came to be. That's a story you can tell. The second one is the reason story, the purpose or the reason behind your business. The third one is my favorite, the lost and found story. That's the story of overcoming adversity. Are you noticing the emotional connection that are behind these stories? I love a good overcoming adversity. The hero's journey is another one of my favorites because that's a story of failing and then becoming successful. And people relate to that a lot. There's the secret discovery story. That's the story of research. So, those of you who have products, this is how you research to produce the product that you have. And then there's the David and Goliath stories. That's a story of big wins for a small business. These stories need to be authentic, flawed, human. They have to include emotion and intellectual elements. Tip number 2, we're almost done. We're at the very end. I love this one because I've been talking at you for 30 minutes, and guess what? Silence is golden. This girl's been talking at me, Dr. Liz. Marketing is noisy. It's extremely noisy. I'm going to use emails here. This is a prime example, but emails are an example of marketing that can be silent or noisy. Noisy emails push the sales. How many of those do you get from big brands, Walmart, Target, right? They just come and come and come. They're there to convince the customer they can't live without the product or service, and they just throw it out there constantly. Silent emails, on the other hand, communicate what is without hype. More importantly, they speak to real needs and solutions. When we market, we tend to be searching for the sales. So we're pitching, right? We want to pitch our services. We want to prove we're the best. But often we become this endless stream of words in that pitch. Words are very powerful. But when you have few words, it can hinder growth. And just the opposite, too many words overwhelm and confuse. You lose the person's thought. They're like, what is she talking about? More importantly, studies show, and this is a big one, that you can miss out on the opportunity to close the deal because you were talking so much. This is where I say there's a powerful force that's born when we're simply silent and listen. And an example here is to have that list of questions ready to ask, and then you just listen to their answers. You take notes and reflect on what they say. And here's the key: don't listen to then interject every time they talk because you want to share what you have. Just listen. Because what you're going to find is that you're thinking before you're speaking, and they're going to say, wow, this person cares. I want to learn more about what they're doing. And last but not least, tip number 1, it's not about you, it's about them. In business and in life, it's not about us, it's about them. You want to create marketing materials that provide the solution your clients need, and you need to remove yourself from the equation. And that's a hard thing to do. You're selling yourself without selling yourself. Every part of your business, especially sales, becomes easier when you learn and communicate this concept. We're passionate about what we do and we want to share it to the world. But when we focus on ourselves and not the customers, we lose sight of closing the deal. You end up listing all your credentials and how amazing you are, and your customers going, great, how does that help me? I need this now. I need this done. Here's a big one because I've been talking to you for a while. No one wants to be talked to, right? They want to tell you their story. They don't want to be, they care about what matters to them. You need to listen to what they want and share what you have that meets their needs. And this is the idea of look at me versus look at you. You never want to be look at me in business. You always want to be look at you. People will remember that. You look at them, you shine a light on them, you make them feel special and important, and then you deliver what they need. And guess what? You will have a customer for life. And so, with that, our takeaways: words are powerful. Be authentic, be simple, be grounded, be real, and be you, flaws and all. And of course, hire a marketing strategist and a writer to capture your essence. And with that, I'm going to open it up. We have a few minutes for questions. We're at the very end.